Hi, Gary Galka from DAS. Today, I'm going to show you our new REMPod Rev 3. We're going to unbox it for the first time, and you'll get a chance to see what it's all about, what it looks like, the features, the functions, and some of the accessories that come with it. It's come a long way since 2011 when it was first introduced and released on Zach's Ghost Adventure show. I put a lot of thoughtful features and functionality into the device over the years, and I think that this new REMPod Rev 3 is a culmination of all those ideas and thoughts that I've had, including a few innovative features that have yet to be seen by anyone, at least in this field. So let's get busy, let's unpack the device, and let's go over all the features and functions together. Here we go. Okay, this is the new REMPod Rev 3 box. Right away, the first thing you're going to notice is it's an actual gift box. And there's a reason for that too, because if you do give it to someone as a gift, I want to make it easy for you in wrapping it up. But there's also many other reasons why it's in a box now. I'm offering accessories with it, and I want to make sure that when this device is shipped out to someone, that's really well protected. And so the insert is all foam, and you can reuse that if you like. So if you are in the field and you want a secure place to keep everything, just keep it in the box. It'll always be safe, and you'll always recognize it for what it is. Okay, so that's the REMPod gift box. Nothing's rattling around inside. Let's open it up. First thing you notice on top will be the REMPod manual. It's a multi-page manual, all-inclusive, very detailed. It explains what everything does, how it works, the origination of the device going back to 2011, a little bit of history about the product. So everything is in the instruction booklet for you to read. Many of you won't read it. Some of you will just start pushing buttons. That's okay. I fall into that category, so it's not a big deal. But do keep this for reference in case you have any questions. It'll really provide you with the kind of information you need. Let's put that aside. The next thing, as you look, you have 3 compartments. The one over here is a cable. This is a USB Type-C cable. It's used for charging the REMPod. You will need your 5-volt power adapter to plug this into so that you can charge your battery. Now when you get it, it should have a charge, but I recommend that you charge it until it's fully charged. So this is your cable. The next thing that we have inside the box is a tripod. This, you'll see, is a standard 1/4-inch female receiver for the tripod. And it'll work with any tripod. It doesn't have to be this one, but I'm including it anyways for your convenience. It's the perfect accessory when you're using it on a tabletop or a floor or some irregular terrain of some kind. So we have our tripod. And then we have our REMPod. That's in its own little nest. So let's just take a look at this. So this is all one piece. So you have a spot, a safe spot to store all of your accessories and the REMPod itself. So let's put this aside. Let's take out the REMPod. And that's our REMPod Rev 3. This is a foldable antenna. Let's move this up so you can get a look at the front. Now, right away, as you look at the front, you'll see a couple of little changes. I'll point them out to you. The first one you noticed already, it was a foldable antenna. Okay, that's perfect for storage. Very easy to use. It does swivel, and it does tuck down to store it. So let's leave it up for now. Okay, on the front, the first thing you might notice is this little area up here. This is the battery charge indicator. So what you have is you have 3 LEDs that shows you the percent of charge. You have red, yellow, and green. When you charge it, you want it to be green. And while we're on the subject of charging, your charge port is located here, and there'll be a red when it's charging and a green when it's completely charged. Just so you know. Let's go back to the top. The buttons. I've changed the buttons. Since this is a completely new tool, I actually created a mold for this device. These are all new tooled parts. The buttons are unique. These buttons are flat, they're smooth, and they're larger than the previous REM pod. So just scanning the top, what you have are your 5 LEDs. You have your battery charge, your foldable antenna, and the reason it's attached is so you don't lose it. It's just easy. The previous design, you had to unscrew it and put it someplace. A lot of people were breaking the antenna, or the antenna became loose. And when it became loose, you would get false positives. And speaking of loose, I'm going to point something out to you right now about the antenna. On the back side here is a rubber grommet, and you pop open the little hatch. If your antenna ever gets loose, you pop open the little hatch and you use a Phillips screwdriver and you tighten up the antenna. That way it's always snug and you'll never provide you with any false positives. Unlike the previous REM pod design, the Rev 2, it would get loose, or the mechanism, the threaded mechanism that I was using would sometimes get stripped. So this is a big improvement. That should never have any problems. The other thing too is, let's say that by accident this antenna crimps or you break it, you drop it. Simply remove the grommet, pop it open. It's actually on a hinge, so you don't lose the rubber grommet. You loosen the antenna, pull the antenna out, and order a new antenna. They're readily available. That way you can replace it in the field. It doesn't have to come back to us. That was important to me because we received a lot of antenna issues with our Rev 2. All right, so we've talked about the antenna, we've talked about the buttons. So we have the same button array. We have a REM 0. We have a REM range. There are 5 ranges in the device. First, let me say it defaults to range 1. And as you press the button, it goes range 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each increase is 20% strength, field strength, and it basically gives you a broader range of detection around the device. And then over here we have our temp 0. I want to point something out about the temperature. The temperature still works like our previous Rev 2 model, and it gives you a 1 octave step tone or alert for every degree change it makes in the room. If the temperature is not stable in the room, you will get a fluctuation in temperature. On the Rev 2 model, it would chatter in between. So when it reached a threshold between 0.5 and 0.6 degrees, the LED would start to chatter, and I'll have to be honest, that's kind of an annoyance. Some of you may think that Spirit's communicating. I wanted to eliminate that thought process. I wanted the temperature to just be functional. So now what happens is it will only change with a physical degree change in the environment. So if the temperature goes up a half a degree, you're not going to hear any chatter anymore. It won't change until it gets to 1 full degree. And the tone will change at that point as well. Now, if the natural temperature, if the temperature in the room increases or decreases naturally, whether it be from a heat source, a sunbeam, it doesn't really matter. If the tone is on for more than 20 seconds, it will automatically mute it, and then it will continue after the next degree of change. I found that to be a great annoyance, and that seems to eliminate that potential problem in the field. All right, so we've gone through all that. So let's look at the bottom. Looking at the bottom of the device, the first thing you're going to notice is there's a lot more buttons. Let's go over everything. On the outside of the REM pod, I have 4 rubber feet. Now these feet are important, and let me tell you why. If you put this on a table, it will not move. It's stuck. The previous Rev 2, somebody hit it, it would slip or what have you, and it would hit the ground. So I put on 4 rubber feet. The other thing I want you to notice is the 3 buttons. The buttons here control the audio and the alert status sounds. So basically, you can have things, you can adjust whether you hear tones, whether you hear voice, which is an alert voice, and low battery voice and things of that type. So these buttons default on, and if you want to turn them on or off after you turn the device on, you can just by pressing the button. So now you control whether or not you have sound for temperature, for REM, for voice, etc. Your REM pod is in the center. Over here is a speaker for the voice. Let me explain something about the voice. What I've done is I've created a couple alerts for the user. Some of them are allocated towards the battery. For example, if you're using the battery up and you're getting close to it being depleted, you're going to hear my voice and I'm going to advise you that there's a low battery condition. And that's really when you should start thinking seriously of charging the device. But overall, with this device and the lithium battery, you'll get about 60 hours of field use out of one full charge. So again, we have our on-off switch, we have a tripod mount, we have a speaker, and the tripod actually benefits the speaker because the sound is a lot more pronounced and you could hear it at a greater distance more clearly. And then we have our control buttons for audio and voice right there. So let's turn the device on now, and I want to point out a few things. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn the switches off. Right now, I have all the sound off on the device. I'm going to increase the sensitivity. Remember, it defaults to sensitivity level 1, and then you can increase it 4 more steps. And this is pretty much what you would see with a REM pod. As you get close, it increases. As you move further away, it decreases, and so on and so forth. Very consistent. All right, so that's it without sound. Now let's turn the sound on. So underneath, I think what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the REM. Okay, let's listen to the unique tones. Now, the tones that I've incorporated into this device allow you to differentiate field strength. Basically, I'm assigning a tone and mapping it directly to a color on the LEDs. So let me show you what I mean. That's a tone for green. That's a tone for yellow. That's a tone for blue, purple, red. So now when you're in the field and you hear, your mind, your hearing, after using it a little bit, is going to say, that's a field interruption, and that's the green LED. The previous Rev 2, it was more of an ascending frequency sound. It was very hard to differentiate. So if I hear, that's different than You should be able to tell the difference with that. It just takes a little bit of practice. So those are the sounds. Now let me show you what happens when I have interruption of the field in a very high strength level. Here we go. It's more of an infinity type of sound response from it. Okay, so we're just spending some time on the tones. Now let me point something out to you really fast. When you first turn it on, there's a 5-second on delay for you to make changes and not have to worry about the device going crazy while you're near the antenna. Now let me show you what it sounds like when I interrupt the field with the voice on.
Field disturbance detected.
Now there's a reason for that voice, because I've created a feature in this new REMPod Rev 3 that I call Pulse Field Fringe Detection. Now field fringe is something rather unique. It's a capability of detecting a pulse as small as 50 milliseconds. That's a very high-speed pulse. Now what that does is, in my mind, I envision a spirit that may not be able to manifest enough energy to trigger the device. But by incorporating a very fast pulse detection into the device, spirit doesn't need to manifest with a lot of energy. And if they're doing it with a very quick burst of energy, we can still grab that, detect it, and then emphasize that to the user.
Field disturbance detected.
Now, why didn't it go off there? The reason it didn't go off there is because there's a 5-second reset. So keep that in mind when you use your device.
Field disturbance detected.
Now let me show you if I continue on.
Field disturbance detected. Field disturbance detected.
Okay, so that's how the field fringe detection works. This is a unique feature in the new REMPod Rev 3. It's basically a
Field disturbance
a
detected.
fast burst like that. Try it again.
Field disturbance detected.
So if you were to try that with the REMPod Rev 2, you wouldn't have any success knowing that there was an interruption of the field.
Field disturbance detected.
There you go.
Field disturbance detected. Field disturbance detected. Field disturbance detected.